Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Musa Gaming here, and today, for the very first time in my 1031 days of me playing Rise of Kingdoms, I think I can actually confidently say that Cavalry is probably in the best spot that it has ever been with the addition of Arthur and Subutai. And with that said, I actually think as of late March of 2025, with Subutai being added to the game, with Arthur being added to the game, I think for the first time in years of me playing Rise of Kingdoms, I think I can confidently say Cavalry might be the best troop type for you to choose from in Rise of Kingdoms. Now, why I'm saying that is actually because of the commander releases that actually had since I started the game. When I first started the game, actually the best infantry commanders were like Scipio Prime and Guan Yu, and best cavalry commanders were like Nevsky, Alexander Nevsky, and Joan of Arc Prime. And archer best commanders were Boudica Prime and Yi Sung-ge. Now, ever since then, there were so many commanders that came out from other troop types like Liu Che and Zhuge Liang that basically changed the meta of each troop type so drastically that cavalry couldn't really compete against those new meta breaking commanders. Now, we did have Huo added to the game, and Huo was actually good, and he's still very, very good commander for you to use on the field. But unfortunately, he wasn't a meta breaking commander in the game. He didn't really introduce new type of damage. He wasn't really overpowered to a degree where he can be used for basically anything like Zhuge Liang. When Zhuge Liang came into the game for the first time, he could be used for rally, garrison, and field. It was just OP. But let's say Huo Qubing, if you look at his kit, he's very field oriented only. And same goes with basically Liu Che. He's pretty much so OP that he can be used for rally and field. When he first came into the game, he actually could be used along with Gorgo, that he could be used for garrison, I think, if I remember correctly. So Cavalry have missed that time until we actually had Arthur, which was that meta breaking new type of damage, combo damage, being the Cavalry's main groundbreaking, meta breaking damage that comes into the game, damage mechanism that actually comes into the game, that basically made Cavalry the strongest, arguably the strongest troop type to choose from in the game. So, but then again, like, look how long ago those two commanders actually came into the game. Like Liu Che came into the game 2023, September of 2023, and then Zhuge Liang came in May of 2023. So we were delayed about a year and a half of just being subprime, like subpar of infantry archers, and we were just suffering as cavalry mains. You guys are probably feeling the same way. Like, we really didn't have a place in anywhere, with the exception of us having the innate movement speed buff that we actually do have over innate movement speed advantage we have over other troop types. Now, with the addition of Arthur and Subutai into the game, though, it changes the landscape drastically, because I was saying this earlier, but I'll say it again. Okay, so Cavalry actually have, as a troop type, innate advantage over any other troop type in the game, and that is its base movement speed that is higher than other troop types. You can see that T5 Cavalry has base movement speed of 80, but other troop types, let's say infantry, has 65, siege has 60, and then I think archer has 70. Yeah, so you're gonna be, if you're using cavalry, you're gonna be about 10 to whatever percentage faster than any other troop type in the game. Not to mention that that can be amplified with any of the movement speed buff that you're going to get from commanders, that you're going to be able to get from runes, that you're going to be able to get from holy sites. So I understand why Lilith actually hasn't released an overpowered cavalry commander for a while, because it is going to be very difficult for you to balance cavalry, because if you give cavalry something very OP like they did with Arthur and stuff, they're gonna be able to chase down almost anything because of their innate movement speed difference. Let's say if you have like the best archer march, but like you're maining cavalry and you have 3 cavalry marches in the game, in the field, and then you're chasing down 2 to 3 archer marches. Archer marches cannot run away from you, so you can either choose to actually attack them or run away from them, depending on your situation. But archer doesn't really have that choice against cavalry. Same goes to infantry. If you're running infantry and you're like low against cavalry, all you can do is actually just die. But cavalry, by having the innate movement speed advantage versus other troop type, can actually choose to come in and out of the fight as more versatility. I know that in reality that doesn't really happen 100%, but then again, you will have more versatility in the game because of the movement speed buff that it actually has, movement speed advantage that it has over other troop types. On top of that, it also has access to the most amount of health stats in the game from its equipment. Now, as you might already know, and I'll say this if you actually haven't known this before, among stats, among health, attack, and defense, health is actually the most preferred stats in Rise of Kingdoms, just general rule of thumbs across all troop types, and then defense, and then attack, because of how available each stats are. Health is the least available stats that you can actually possibly get in Rise of Kingdoms. Defense is the second, and then attack is the most common stats that you can actually acquire in Rise of Kingdoms. So cavalry having the most amount of health acquirable through equipment, I think archer's max health that you can actually get is like 35%. And then infantry doesn't have any innate health buff that you can actually get from its equipment set, except if you use leadership set, then you can actually get about like 20%, 19% max. But cavalry, you can see that my best set for cavalry actually has about 54% with 3% troop health and then 51% cavalry health. So that itself gives cavalry just a step ahead of everyone else in terms of like the movement speed, in terms of health, just overall how much power that the cavalry can have from equipments and innate movement speed advantage. So with that said, I mean, yeah, that's basically all I can say. I think the only thing that I can say is that with all of that combined together, with the fact that we have the cavalry has the best rally commander in the game right now, with Attila Subutai, with the fact that I think it also has the best field troop type, in my opinion. I think currently the strongest field commander pairing in the game right now is Poe and Arthur. And possibly Arthur and Philip, but I think Poe Arthur is much stronger at this very moment. And with the innate movement speed advantage as well as the equipment that gives you most access to health, I think right now, as of March of 2025, it is safe for me to actually say cavalry is the best troop type in the game for you to actually play in. So what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree with what I said? If you agree, join the Cav Gang, bros. Cavalry is amazing. Really, I enjoyed being cavalry main for the last 1,031 days of my Rise of Kingdoms life. So I hope you feel the same way. And if you join the Cav Gang, and if you disagree with me, you might be right in 2 months, in a month. But I think right now, cavalry is probably the best troop type in the game. If you disagree, just you can feel free to drop it down in the comment below. But I don't think it's true. So anyways, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And as always, I'll see you on the next video.